Hello everybody and welcome back to the 101 with Em and Ollie channel. We've been gone for a bit, but we're back now. We're in a new location testing things out and ready for a huge Game Week 11 in the Prem. Are you ready, Em?
Yes, I am ready indeed.
Cool, let's get straight on into it.
Yeah, so starting us off with Fulham and Man United. We're not doing too well, as always. It's been a bit of a trend this year, but every game from now on is a must-win this month. Even though we lost to Newcastle recently, we have to win these Premier League games if we don't want to fall deeper and deeper into the mid-tables. And for this month, we have both of our Champions League games against Copenhagen and Galatasaray, where we have to win to have a chance of advancing. But we're not here to talk about the Champions League. We are here to talk about the Premier League. So, Varane was out midweek against Newcastle due to an illness. I do expect him to be back. I do expect him to probably replace Johnny Evans or Harry Maguire, and Serge Reguilon's probably going to start instead of Victor Lindelof. So I really hope that this game is going to be, a nice, comfortable, easy win. But I know this team, and I know it's going to be anything but. It's going to be one of those games where we grind out a result and have a really good moment from someone, as Mark Goldbridge would always put it. So with my predictions, then I'll go for a 1-0 Man United away win and Rasmus Højlund to score that one and only goal.
You think he's finally going to score?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. It's been an awful few weeks for Man United. 3-0 loss at home to City, 3-0 loss at home to Newcastle in the League Cup, where Newcastle have a lot of injuries as well. Let's not just think that United have all the injuries. Newcastle are mounting up injuries as well. Basically played their second team in young guys, whereas United pretty much put their full strength team, bar maybe 3 players, and it was 3-0 to Newcastle. So I'm fully Ten Hag out, even though I'm not a United fan. I think he needs to go. I understand why United fans think he needs to stay, because it's not going to change anything. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about what we think is going to happen. And if you're away to Fulham aren't in the best of form either. So I think you're right. United are going to squeeze a goal out of nowhere. It's going to be a 2-1 away win. And I think that goal is going to come from Bruno Fernandes.
Well, pretty similar predictions then, but I'm going to move on then to the next game. We have Brentford at home to West Ham. Brentford still missing Kevin Schade, and West Ham is missing Paqueta through a suspension. And who is the other one? I'm slipped out of my head. And Edson Alvarez. Kurt Zuma's doubtful, so do you know if Zuma's going to play or not?
I don't, but are you sure Paqueta's missing out? He played in the League Cup.
I'm pretty sure he'll be banned this game week, yeah.
Okay, well.
So give us your take.
Okay. So yeah, this really could go either way. Brentford have found a bit of form lately, picking up wins against Chelsea away last weekend, which was a huge result for them. And West Ham have been not anywhere near how they were at the start of the season. But seeing as this is a home game for Brentford, I don't see them winning. I see it being a draw for West Ham. I think they have a lot more talent and star power than I think Brentford have. So I'm going a 2-2 draw, but I do think it could be a goal from a defender in this game from a corner kick. So I've gone with Ethan Pinnock to score 2 games running for Brentford. Yep, 2 games running.
It's a very brave prediction, especially on the anytime goal scorer.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think with Brentford and West Ham, actually Brentford's been a lot better, West Ham's been a lot worse lately. Things are bound to change, and I'm a firm believer in the fact that if a team goes through a bad run of form, i.e. you can say West Ham or Man United, they're always bound to bounce back, and once they do, they'll bounce back in a really nice way. And I think this is one of those games for West Ham. So I picked a 2-0 West Ham away win, controversial for some, and my anytime goal scorer is going to be James Ward-Prowse.
Okay. Moving on then to Burnley at home to Palace. 2 teams really struggling, aren't they?
Yeah, either team are doing too well at the moment. Palace has lost out even on more players, and Burnley is just kind of poo all year. People really thought that they were going to do a lot better than Luton and Sheffield, but as a whole, as a picture, those 3 teams that's just gone up, none of them have been just any good at all.
Yeah.
So it's a no-brainer about this for the prediction.
Is it though? I mean, we watched Palace play Spurs last week, and obviously Spurs are a different caliber of level than Burnley, but they defended well in that first half, specifically against Spurs, and I don't think there's any star power whatsoever in that Burnley attack. I mean, Lyle Foster's still injured, and the defense has been leaky all season, so I'm going with quite a boring 0-0 draw in this one. I don't see many goals, especially with Eze and Elise still out for Palace, and like I said, Burnley just really have nothing going forward for them at the moment. So I've gone with a 0-0 draw, and I'll take a 0 anytime goal scorer prediction for this one.
Wow.
I'm so confident it's 0-0
Holy
in this
crap.
one.
But that is what I mean by a no-brainer, though.
Yep, okay.
That means, I think this has got a draw written all over it. That's why I predicted a 1-1 draw, and my anytime goal scorer is going to be Edouard. Okay. Next game then is Everton at home to Brighton, and if you compare their two seasons, it's night and day. Everton really struggling, and they might even get this points deduction pretty soon too. So, or have they already gotten it?
No.
But they might pretty soon. I think it's pretty likely because, Premier League finally enforcing financial fair play, and I just think it's a bit unfair that Everton is the first team to, ever get the consequences of breaching financial fair play. So that's either going to do one or two things. That's going to make them play all that harder and try and stay up this season, even if they get 15 points docked off. But I think that's near impossible if they lose 15 points. Or it actually drops their head and messes with their morale, and they're going to be absolutely crap for the rest of the season. So I personally think the latter is going to happen. Do you agree with that?
Kind of. I mean, you say it's been night and day seasons, and it has been, but if you also look at the most recent fixtures, Everton are coming off a few wins and Brighton are coming off a few losses. And the whole headspace around Everton at the moment is actually honestly moving a bit more positively at the moment. I mean, a lot of people thought they were going down, but regardless, it's still a tough task to face Brighton because you really don't know what you're going to get with them. Yes, they've been off lately, but every big team, I know it's weird just to call Brighton a big team, but they're competing against the big teams so far this year, so every team goes through a rough patch. And yes, it's going to be tough for Everton at home. So that being said, I think Brighton is going to get back on track. I think they're going to win this game by a scoreline of 3-1 away from home. And Simon Adringa is going to be the anytime goal scorer.
I thought Brighton's going to do a little better than that, so I've done one better than you. Brighton to win 4-1 away from home, and my anytime goal scorer, the dare I say wonder kid, Evan Ferguson.
Of course he's a wonder kid. He's 19.
He is. He's yeah.
Of course he's a wonder kid.
I don't know, I'm not fully sold, but I just called him that. I just called him a wonder kid.
He's the most complete striker to come out of. I know he's not from England, but about this area, I'd say since Kane.
Since Harry Kane?
Since Kane. He's so complete at this age. You got to consider him a wonder kid.
All right, the wonder kid, Evan Ferguson, is my anytime goal scorer. Next up, Manchester City at home, playing Bournemouth, I think. But Bournemouth, though, finally got a win this season.
Yeah, they finally got a win last week against Burnley. Last minute goal, I don't remember who it was by, but that doesn't matter. They got the 3 points. But there's really no hope for them in this game, is there?
No, not really. Especially if they're playing away to Man City.
Yeah.
Bournemouth is just, quality-wise, they're that bad that, when teams like Wolves play Man City the other day, Wolves beat City, you say it might be one of those games where Man City actually are on their off day, and this mid-table team's on a really good day, end up beating Man City. Bournemouth on their good day couldn't even beat a shit Man City side. So I don't think this game can go any way other than a Manchester City win. Yeah,
there's no point talking about it anymore. It's going to be a City win. I don't know anyone who thinks otherwise. I think it'll be an absolute thrashing. 4-0 for Man City at home. And Bernardo Silva to be my anytime goal scorer.
Yeah, you call that an absolute thrashing. This is an absolute thrashing. I've went for a 6-0 Man City win at home at the Etihad.
Go on.
And my anytime goal scorer is Jeremy Doku.
I think you're being a bit too harsh on Bournemouth here.
Oh, I don't know.
They're not that. They've had poor results, but they're not terrible. They've got a new manager. They've got a few players that they signed that are just coming into the team because they were injured. I think you're not giving them enough credit, but it could.
This is a lot less about Bournemouth.
Could easily be
a lot more
6-0.
about Man City at the Etihad.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, yeah.
All right, moving on to Sheffield United at home to Wolves. What did I say? New Year? Worst ever point deduction ever, or point tally in Premier League history. It's looking more and more likely. I think at this point of a season, you've never had a team with this low amount of points ever, with just 1 through 10 games. There's nothing positive about Sheffield United, whereas Wolves, I feel a bit sorry for them. Their star player Neto has picked up a hamstring injury. Luckily, it's not going to be out for that long. but still, he's all of that's good with Wolves. I mean, Hwang Hee-chan's playing good as well, but everything just comes through Neto. He's the heart of that team. So with that injury, I think it's a bit of a tougher game to predict.
Music licensing reimagined.
Yeah, Neto cutting in, he's been explosive all game. He looked really good against, dare I say, top 4 Newcastle side. So that's gone against my Premier League prediction completely. It doesn't matter. They look top 4 side. Newcastle were really good this year. Neto cutting in into loads of space. He's already beat his man, which I think was Dan Burn, ready to score a goal and make it 3-2 and give me an extra points off in FPL. But luckily he pulled his hamstring, but part of me do feel really bad for him. I feel bad for Neto, I feel bad for Wolves. Let's just really hope that it's not a bit of a turning point for them after losing their probably key player, their most important player in that 11, some might argue. So in my opinion, in my humble prediction, I'd say that Sheffield United will get another point this game. It's going to be a 1-1 draw, and Hwang Hee-chan's going to be my anytime goal scorer. What do you think?
Similar, but I think Wolves have enough to get the win. There's nothing good about Sheffield United, like I said maybe 2 minutes ago. So I think Wolves, despite the injury to Pedro Neto, they've still got Hwang Hee-chan. They've still got a really good compact midfield and defense. I don't see any goals from Sheffield United, so I've gone 1-0 away for Wolves to win this game, and I was going to go Hwang Hee-chan as my anytime goal scorer, but you took it. So I'm sticking with the center back corner theme. I'm going to go with Craig Dawson to score a bullet header and win the game for Wolves.
Oh man, so done with the 3 p.m. kickoff. We're going to move on to the 5:30 p.m. kickoff between Newcastle and Arsenal. What a cracker this is cooking up to be.
Yeah, no, this is probably the second biggest game of the weekend. I mean, it's the biggest in terms of teams in the table, but obviously we'll get on to what is the biggest game of the weekend later. But yeah, this is huge for top 4 and really, title games as well. Like Arsenal are competing for the title, Newcastle more so top 4, and if either side gets a win here, that's really a really crucial 3 points. There's not much in it. I mean, Arsenal are going to miss Gabi Jesus again because he's always injured, whereas Newcastle also, like I've said earlier in this video, have a lot of injuries mounting up as well. So it's a tough one to call, but I think I'm just going to sit on the fence here. I'm going with a 2-2 draw, and I'm going to go with a Bukayo Saka anytime goal.
Well, I actually personally think this game is a lot bigger than Spurs versus Chelsea because both of these teams have a great case of being in the top 4, if not top 3 this season. They're both playing really good football. Even though Newcastle dropped points last week, I don't know. I like to see those trends where once a really good team drops points, I don't know whether they're going to keep dipping or not, or they're going to bounce back. So I'm a bit more on the conservative side. Newcastle plays at home. Well, Newcastle is playing at home. Arsenal came off a win last week. They are missing, who you said, Gabriel Jesus. So that's why this one, everything perfectly evens out for me. And I'm going to actually go for a 0-0 draw. No team's going to score. Both teams are really good defensively. Newcastle too. Newcastle really good defensively. So far this season, they did concede 2 to Wolves, but I think both defensive will do their jobs. It's going to be 0-0. I will still pick an anytime goal scorer though. I'm not insane like you earlier. Okay. And you went.
I'm just thinking realistic. I'm just thinking logically.
Yeah. It would. You can have a shout for no anytime goal scorer. I've gone Freddie Nketiah though.
I thought you hate Eddie Nketiah.
No, but he's been good.
Okay, fair enough. So let's move on to Sunday then. Nottingham Forest against Aston Villa. Forest being the home team. Aston Villa, I mean, they're just on fire right now, aren't they?
They are. Ollie Watkins has been saying he's playing the best football of his career, and I think we can all agree with that because we've never seen him play like this before. Pretty much scores, assists every single week, and you cannot write Aston Villa off for anything, even though some games they might act incapable and incompetent and just not win. But any opponent Aston Villa play, I will never I'll never roll Aston Villa out. So for this one, I think it's an easy Villa win. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it'll be a good Villa win as well. Forest have been a bit better overall this season, but their home form hasn't been as good as it was last year. In Aston Villa, I know it's an away game, but they've won 13 in a row at home. They're competing everywhere they go. They're having a really good season. They very well could make top 4. There's so many good teams in the Premier League this season, so don't be surprised if you see Villa up there come May. But yeah, I think it'll be a 2-1 Aston Villa away win, and I think Leon Bailey will be the anytime goal scorer.
I'm actually feeling a 2-0 Aston Villa away win. I don't think Forest is going to find a goal in them against that Villa side. It's a really good defence as well. So 2-0 for me, and anytime goal scorer, I think this is the easiest call I've ever made. Ollie Watkins.
He didn't score last week.
He did, but he got an assist though.
No,
that's
he
just
didn't.
FPL.
He didn't even get an assist.
Yeah, he did.
He finished on 4 points because you captained him.
Oh,
So technically, he's in poor form.
He'll be back. Second last game of the week. Luton at home to Liverpool at Kenilworth Road. Is that what they're
Yep,
called?
that's what they're called.
That's what they're called. Does Luton have a chance here?
I don't think so. I mean, Luton, honestly, even though everyone thought Burnley was going to be the promoted side that would ruffle a few feathers in the league, but it's really been Luton. They've got more points than the other 2 promoted teams. They at least look like they're fighting. They're out there fighting, wanting to give everything to at least pick up a point or 3 points, depending on the opponent. But this one, it just really doesn't look like they have a chance. There's not enough quality whatsoever for them to have any shot in winning this game or drawing. So, yeah, I'm just going to go straight into it. I'm going to think it's a 3-0 Liverpool win, and I think Dominic Szoboszlai is going to score as my anytime goal scorer.
I feel like I've gone more aggressive than you in every single game this week because
maybe
I put a 4-0 Liverpool win.
It could be 4.
And the anytime goal scorer is Darwin Nunez.
Darwin.
Score for Liverpool. I'm thinking a brace here for Darwin.
Maybe. All right, so let's move on to the final game of the week on the Monday. It is, in my opinion, the biggest game of the week. It is Spurs, top of the table, unbeaten, at home to Chelsea, who are down in 11th place. The big talking point, obviously, is Mauricio Pochettino coming back to the Spurs stadium for the first time since he's left. When he left at first, everyone had the utmost respect for him. Everyone wanted to succeed at PSG, and he did to an extent, but not as many people thought. But I don't know about all Spurs fans, but me personally, I've lost a bit of respect for him. I know it's a business, and I know he chose to join Chelsea. It's a big team, but as Chelsea being our second biggest rival, I can never, I don't know, it just, for him to pick us up when we were in a poor state of the league, take us to a Champions League final, a FA Cup semi-finals, a title run 2 years in a row, to then go to Chelsea, I don't know. I lost a bit of respect for him for that. So I think that's the biggest talking point of this game. I think Chelsea overall look poor against poor sides, look great against great sides. That's kind of how they've played out so far this season. The big thing for them is just goals. They're lacking a bit of them. They still don't have that out-and-out star striker, which I think everyone thinks they need. So it's still confusing why they didn't buy one. I mean, Nicholas Jackson, yes, he's a striker, but he's not proven yet. I think Cole Palmer has been probably their best signing so far, and he was on deadline day. I think he's looked great. I think he should have been nominated for Player of the Month, but that doesn't really matter. Whereas for Spurs, we just keep on ticking. I think the last 2 weeks we haven't been at our absolute best against Fulham and Palace, but those are tough games. They're going to be up for it. Angie's going to be up for it. I can see so many different results and scenarios happening in this, but I'm going to go with my gut. I think it's going to be a 3-1 Tottenham home win, continue their unbeaten record, continue to collect points and put them up on the table. 3-1 Spurs win, and I think a goal is going to come from Rodrigo Bentancur off the bench. Yeah.
As you mentioned, though, Chelsea are really good against good sides. So I actually personally think that's a cause for concern.
I am a bit worried, yeah. I am a bit worried.
This would, however, make this a really good game, though. Chelsea might not have Mudryk back. So I don't know if he's going to play or not.
I'm worried about Mudryk.
Okay, how about you lot might not have Destiny Adobe?
We'll have Emerson. Don't ever doubt Emerson Royale. He's the GOAT.
You're going to have Emerson Royale at left back?
It worked the last game, second half against Palace.
Against Raheem Sterling.
We have Mickey Van de Ven behind Emerson, and he's definitely the fastest defender in the league so far, and that's not biased. That's just how he is.
He is really quick. I'll give you that. But with all what you just said, and with the fact that Chelsea do perform really, really well against good side, I've actually gone for a 2-2 draw, a cracker, a really, really good game, and an anytime goal scorer under the name of Brennan Johnson.
Nice.
for our Tottenham
Nice.
Hotspur.
Hopefully he gets the start over with Charlemid.
That's what's in the predicted lineup. I'm pretty sure they did put Brennan Johnson over Richarlison. So yeah, the Pigeons not getting a start this game. Well, we got to move on. We're not keeping that. Alright then, boys, we are reaching the end of the video. That's when you know, because we have reached the Fantasy Premier League section. You have a lot more reason to be happy.
Yeah, let's cast our minds back maybe 4 or 5 game weeks ago when you were gloating about how good you were doing and how you're going to run away with the league between us this season. And here we are going into game week 11, and I'm 6 points clear. What a surprise. What a shocker. I'm leading yet again.
It's really tight now.
No, it's tight, and we're both top 500,000 in the world, which is, really good. It's really good.
Like what, 17 million teams playing?
Yeah, 17 million.
I mean, this year, and we are top 500k.
Yeah.
So, in the big picture, neither of us are doing that poorly at all.
Nope.
I did have a horrid week last week, though. I only
Yeah.
scored 44. The average was 66. And that brought about every single red arrow that could have popped up.
Yeah, and I scored 87 points. So I'm thriving. I'm doing a lot better. I've made 1 transfer this week, even though I had 2 free. Did you make 1 or 2?
I made 1 transfer.
Okay. This is a bit of I guess you can call it differential. I got rid of Fabian Schär. I think Arsenal are going to score against Newcastle, and I brought in John Stones. I think he's probably, because of his new role under Pep, he plays kind of like that number 6 CDM role above the center half, so he counts as a defender on FPL. So I've brought him in. I think he's got an easy clean sheet. I don't see Bournemouth scoring at all. So yeah, I'm hoping the good form continues for me this weekend.
Okay. I have actually removed Jared Bowen, replacing Bowen with Bukayo Saka, because last week I brought Thomas Souček in to free up space for Saka this week. He was actually playing Newcastle, so I could have waited another week for that move.
And you thought it was going to be a 0-0.
I thought it was going to be a 0-0, yeah. But it's not for that game, that move for Saka. It's like
Okay.
a lot more long.
Yeah.
Saka's going to be on my team for at least another 5 game weeks. I know that for a fact. Many experts say Saka is the move to bring in is the player to bring in this week. So I've listened to them like a little dog, and now I've got Bukayo Saka in my midfield, which in my opinion strengthened my midfield because he is better than Bowen.
Absolutely.
So, alright then, boys, that does wrap up your one-on-one Game Week 11 Premier League preview show with M and Ollie. We will see you on Tuesday after the Spurs and Chelsea game because there's a Monday kickoff. But until then, be sure to leave a like, share, subscribe, and drop us a comment if you have anything to say about anything that we said. Give us your opinion, give us your predictions, give us your anytime goal scorers. But yeah, today, that's about all we got for you. Goodbye.
Not a little